Hi there and welcome to tutorial 39. This is the second part of the Strange Things kind of tutorials. This is Stranger Things, which is the Netflix TV series, and I'm just going to show you a small extract of one of the pieces from that. And it was written by Michael Stein and Kyle Dixon. Now those are two kind of synth players who were in different bands, but their main influence are things like Jean-Michel Jarre, Tangerine Dream and Vangelis, which we've covered in previous tutorials. So it's all about atmosphere, and it's all about things like arpeggiators and filter sweeps and things. So we're going to have a look at the first filter sweep, which is this kind of sound. And I'll show you how I got that sound. So we need to go on to the initial setting. There we are. And we've got oscillators 1, 2 and 3 on an 8-foot pitch and a pulse waveform. We're going to set up some pulse width modulation in a second, but the pulse width of the first oscillator, let's click them all in to start with, is, let's look, 70. And the pulse width of the second oscillator, 24. The pulse width of the third oscillator, 49. And now we're going to set up some pulse width modulation on LFO1. So we've got a sine wave there to control the pulse width modulation. And the speed is 38. And the depth there is 35. Let's have a listen to that. And you can hear that kind of sound. That's the pulse wave going from square to narrow to rectangle and back again. We're also going to need to set up the wheel here as to open the filter. So we'll do that now. So we've got the wheel, which is this wheel here, and we need that to be on a ramp setting, and that's going to affect the filter cutoff. So I found the best way to do that is to take the speed to its maximum, and the depth is going to be 51. Let's have a look at that. 51, there we are. Now you won't hear anything at the moment because I haven't set up the filter. So we'll do that next. And the cutoff, we've got a low pass filter, 12 dB per octave here now, because it works better, I think, on the filter sweep. Cutoff 51. There we are. And we need some resonance in there, resonance 35. Key track 86. Sorry, camera. And we need some filter, and we don't need filter envelope, we just need to alter the amplify envelope, velocity 0, attack time 64. We've got sustain level at 127 and release 77. Okay, we've also got reverb time of 88 and a level of 64. Now, at the moment, the sound is very subdued, but as soon as we as soon as we activate the wheel here, that's going to give us the filter sweep sound. Also, this sound can be used for Forever Young. The introduction to Forever Young uses this particular sound. So let's actually go back to the sound that I've set up to make sure it's correct. There we are. Yes, that's it. And here's the sort of Forever Young chord sequence. That's our swell sound. What I forgot to do was to introduce some detune on oscillators 2 and 3, and we've got -9 on oscillator 2 and +4 on oscillator 3, and that gives more of a chorusy type sound without having to use the chorus effect. Okay, the next important sound on the track is an arpeggio, and I'll just show you a little bit of the arpeggio at the moment. 5-5-0, and it's on a C major 7 chord, C, E, G, B and C. That's on a latch mode, so it's actually keeping going while I've taken my fingers off. And then I'm also using the wheel to open up the filter. So let's turn the latch off and let's see how I set that sound up. So we need an initial setting, and we need oscillator 1 on a 16-foot pitch, also a pulse wave, pulse width 77. There we are. And oscillator 2, we'll click that one in. Oscillator 2 is on an 8-foot pitch, pulse width, sorry, 84. And that's a slightly brighter sound than oscillator 1. Also, we're going to use a bit of detune here, +21. There we are. Now that's quite, you know, I think that's a fairly extreme bit of detuning, but when we filter it, when we filter the sound, in actual fact what happens is the filter opens up and exposes more of the detune effect. Okay, so we're going to set up the wheel as well, because we need the wheel to open up the filter. So we've got wheel there, we need cut-off filter there, and we need a ramp setting, and again the ramp speed is going to be 127 all the way up, and we've got a depth of 57. Depth of 57. So that'll open up the filter once we've set up the filter to do that. While we're over in this half of the keyboard, we'll also set up the arpeggiator. Now the arpeggiator at the moment, the mode is off. We need it to be on latch, which means that when you take your fingers off, the arpeggiator will continue. We're also going to look at a tempo of, oh, here we are, a tempo of 126. So move that down to 126. And further down, we've got direction. We want the direction to be alternate up. There, alt up. And the range is 1 octave. If we go down another page, we've got the clock and the length. So the clock wants to be 16. There we are. So that's set up the arpeggiator. And let's just switch off the latch at the moment so that we can set up the other sounds. Okay, so the filter sound, we need a low pass filter, 24 dB per octave, and a cut-off, quite extreme, with 23. Remember, we're going to open up the filter again with the wheel. Let's do that now. Okay, so cut-off 23, resonance 0, key track 64, filter envelope amount +29. So we're getting a percussive effect here. And the attack time 0, decay 50. Sustain 0, release 44. And the amplifier envelope is velocity 0, attack time 0, sustain 0, decay time 82. So you can hear the sound decaying away there, but release 59. thereabouts. We don't actually need any reverb on this, and if we go back to the Arpeggiator, we can now switch the mode back to latch and alter the wheel down to 0, put in the notes, and then open up the wheel. Right, the last of the 3 sounds that we're going to set up now, because there's a few more sounds in there, I've just done the important ones for the track. But the last one is going to be what I've called the E bass, and that's because I play an E note, but it's got a mixture of waveforms and noise and filter cutoff and things like that. So it sounds like this. And we need to go back to our initial setting, and oscillator 1 is a 32-foot pitch, and it's a pulse width of 80. There we are, pulse width 80, maximum volume on that one. Oscillator 2 is at an 8-foot pitch, and maximum volume on that one, but pulse width of 61. And we've got oscillator 3 on a 16-foot sine wave. Now we have to be careful with the sine wave because this knob on a default setting is at 50%. So what we need to do there is introduce some frequency modulation on that of about 54. We need to click that in obviously so we can hear it. 54. There we are. And we need to back that off a tiny little bit, level 99. Okay, we also need some noise in there, and we're going to use white noise at a volume level of 88. Now the reason that we're using noise in there is it kind of emphasises the filter cutoff quite a lot, and I'll show you what I mean there. So the low pass filter is at 12 dB per octave, and the cutoff is 39. Now it's all but disappearing, but we're going to introduce some resonance of 31 and key track 64, so that's okay. The filter envelope is quite important on this, so we're going to put in an amount of 33, and you can hear that percussive effect because of the decay setting on this. Let's alter the decay to 93. I'm getting more of the sound that we need there. Sustain 0, release 0, and the velocity is 0, attack time 0, decay 88, sustain 0, release 35. So even though I'm holding the note down, it's disappeared because the sustain level is at 0. We also need to fatten that sound up by using some chorus, and this is the default setting of rate 20, depth 50, and some reverb, time 85, and level 70. And that's our electric bass sound. And we're going to combine all those together with a few other sounds in the track, and it sounds a bit like this.